stairs, keep hanging to right and up the ramp, and it's right there. So in case of an emergency where we need to get out quickly, we have an exit here and an exit out the front door, and then there's one down in the basement as well. Let's see. Okay. For our spring break, or our spring project, we're still looking for geologists, a videographer, and some archaeologists to work on a pet project I have that's going to be sort of like Ancient Aliens meets The Curse of Oak Island. So if you want to participate in that project, let me know. Give us a call here. Our next program in April will be the history of Westmoreland. That'll be on the 19th. And then May 6th will be our gala and business meeting where we elect new officers, have a chance to talk, have some great food and some music. Okay, also for those who are not members and want to keep the fires going here at Clinton Historical Society, we have a donation jar in the back. If you feel you want to keep this program going, you can drop $1 or $2 in there. We appreciate that. Okay, now, without further ado, I'm going to introduce Joseph Bottini, who is a teacher, a historian, an author, and probably a million other things I don't know about. But I'll let you take it over. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anything? Or any? Here's your hand. Can you pick me up now?
Oh, thank God. I was straining to be heard. In case you didn't hear me earlier, I'm just out of a sick bed from a month with bronchitis. Today's my first day out. I shaved and showered today, and aren't you lucky? Now, should I start at the beginning? Can you hear me back there? If you can't hear me, please raise your hand. If you can't see me, count it a blessing. Please consider joining the Clinton Historical Society if you're not already a member. Our local historical societies need support, and much of our support comes from membership dues. So if you can at all, we'd appreciate it. There's a form back there someplace you could sign up. If not, see Dick Williams right here in front. This gentleman here in front, he'll take care of you and sign you up. I'm not from the Clinton Historical Society, but this is just a public service announcement. There is a need for more volunteers, a need for more emphasis on preservation, and there's a need for our local government to step it up. Dick and I have been battling with the county on a lot of projects that we have in mind for our Oneida County, and we've got to get our government to step up. So if you know anyone in local government, please buzz their ear and tell them, Joe Bottini says you're not cooperating with him. Please do so. How do I know all this? Consider the following comparisons. Keystone, South Dakota has Mount Rushmore Monument. New York City has a Statue of Liberty, and Mohawk Valley has a Risky Monument, and also has Fort Stanwix. Which two elicit the fewest visitors? Tells you something, doesn't it? Boston has the Freedom Trail. Philadelphia has the Liberty Trail. Mohawk Valley has the Courage Trail. Which commands fewest visitors? The Courage Trail has not been operating, I think 12 years ago was the last time they did anything with it. The Daughters of the American Revolution established that trail with the monuments, and I have now been bugging Oneida County and Mr. Pacente to form a commission where we could re-establish the Courage Trail. And I'm having a hard time. Any of you who have any connection with local government, I'd appreciate your help. Oneida County has as much people and events connection to America's history as any region in the nation. Read that for yourself. Read it again. That's true. It's in purple because it's my opinion, but it's true. Oneida County has as much connection, people and events, to America's history as any region in the nation. Amazing, isn't it? Yet we're not developing it, we're not promoting it, and we're not doing what we should do. I've been all over the country, and every place I go, I check out the history part. And I've been on the Philadelphia Trail and Boston Trail, out in South Dakota and Mount Rushmore and all over, and they all have something in common. They promote what they have. We have more history here than all of those places put together. But we're not drawing the tourism because we're not promoting it. My wife and I were out in Mount Rushmore, and we had time in a rental car. And I said, what are we going to do for the afternoon? And she said, I don't know. So I went down the hotel lobby, and the brochures are there. And I read one brochure, and it says, come to South. There goes that age-old brain burp again. Don't laugh. You're going to be old someday, too. Yeah, you feel. It's in Deadwood, South Dakota. Come to Deadwood. A lot of doings in Deadwood. I said to my wife, Deadwood, South Dakota? What's in Deadwood? You know what the big deal is in Deadwood, South Dakota? A cowboy was killed during a card game. Now, you wouldn't think that would be very important. You know who the cowboy was? Wild Bill Hickok. And they reenact the whole thing. And it's fascinating. You go in this old tavern, you walk in that part of town, and it's like walking back to 1860. So just take a step. It's like 1860. Everything's been preserved and recreated like 1860. And the tavern where this happened is there. And you can go in and have lunch. It's a whole program. You have lunch and you become part of the audience, and they reenact the whole card game and shooting the cowboy, and then they drag him out, and you're supposed to travel with them down the street shouting, I saw him do it, hang him. They went to the courthouse, they had the court case, and you're part of the audience. All over a dead cowboy playing poker in a saloon. Now, if that's worthy of all that kind of rigmarole, I'm sure that Oneida County could come up with something more than we are. The Courage Trail is Herkimer's 40-mile march from his residence on his way to help with the siege of Fort Stanwix in 1777. And never got there, of course. He was ambushed at Oriskany. And that's what the Courage Trail is all about. These are some of the top 10 events in American history that all happen and have a direct connection to Oneida County. It's amazing. My book, if it ever gets finished, is going to talk about all these things. The Great Pass, which began America. Without it, there would be no America. That's why New York is called the Empire State. Boy, she stepped right over that cord like there's nothing there. That's great. We're called the Empire State because we are the gateway to a new empire. And it's all because of the Great Pass. Is that working? Yes. Can you read the screen? Is it good? Oh, I done good. The French and Indian War. Major portion of it was right here in the Mohawk Valley. Revolutionary War, how can you get any bigger than that? The eighth wonder of the world, as it was called. That's the Erie Canal. Began in Rome. First section was completed to Utica. Not a sign, not even one sign indicates that. So when I say we're doing a poor job, we're doing a poor job. The telegraph, right on the Dudley building, on the triangle, the Dudley Triangle, and Bagg Square. Believe it or not, that's where, who was the telegraph? What's his name? Well, Samuel Morse and his friend Samuel Chubbuck designed the first telegraph key, the sounder, right here in Utica. He had a store where he sold them all over the world. It was on Hotel Street. I've got a advertisement of that. The Associated Press was begun here. Y'all know what the Associated Press is? AP where? The American Express Company. The headquarters was, guess where? Utica, New York. In 1850, one of the richest men in the country at that time, John Butterfield, was vice president of the American Express Company. You know the term, you know the name Butterfield with a horse. What do you call that? The stagecoach. Help me out when I stumble, okay? Don't just sit there. Help me out. Modern newspaper industry. The Saturday Globe had 5 innovations that created what we know today as the modern newspaper. Guess where that was? Utica, New York. Whitesboro Street. The building, not even the building is there. They tore the building down. That's a long story. Taps. You know what taps is? That solemn refrain played at all military occasions. Co-author of Taps, General Daniel Butterfield. Guess where from? Utica, New York. There isn't even a sign. Down in Virginia, and this plantation, in the area where the battle was fought, that started Taps. They had a battle in Virginia during the Civil War, and at the end of the day, they played this sound that let the soldiers know it was the end of the day. And the sound, this tune they played was an old French tune, and General Butterfield didn't like it. So he called his bugler, Oliver Norton, and he said, Norton, we've got to make a better end of day sound. So he had some notes written on a piece of paper, and he said it to Norton. He said, play these notes. So Norton started playing the notes. He said, no. Play that one faster. No, hold that one. So that's how we got Taps. In this Virginia plantation, Frank Tomano told me this story. Frank Tomano is the is the local history guru. Everything I learned from him. You know, Frank Tomano writes for the OD. Man is so loaded with information. He took a tour and went down to Virginia. And he was early for the plantation tour, and the lady said, well, you can walk around if you want to. So he started walking around. And he looked out in the field, there was this monument thing there, and he said, I wonder what that is. So he walked up to it. That's the spot where General Butterfield wrote Taps. And they had this big monument with the story of how Taps was written there during the Civil War. What do we have in Utica? Nothing. The Pledge of Allegiance. I went to high school with the author of the Pledge of Allegiance. Well, we went to the same high school. Rome Free Academy. His name was Francis Bellamy. But I lost it. Thank you, Dick. He went to Rome Free Academy, and he's buried in Rome Cemetery. And now, mental health, modern, please understand while I'm talking, I'm going to say things you're going to say, what? Doesn't sound right. Turn your mind back to the 1800s so you understand what I'm saying. Don't think 2020. Modern mental health care began Utica, New York. Look at that list. Every blade of grass, every scoop of dirt, or every stone building with a history ought not impede progress. I admit that. However, all change is not worthy of denigrating a community's history legacy. Might I say, the hospital downtown is doing a good job at that? That's my own personal opinion. History is important. It should not stand in the way of progress, but progress should not stand in the way or denigrate the legacy that we've been handed by all the people who came before us. We should respect that. I make a lot of bold statements, don't I? I have a lot of bold opinions. I'm an opinionated guy. Who am I to make such pronouncements? Well, I was appointed by the county executive and approved by the county legislature to be the official Oneida County historian. That's who I am. And they've ruled the day since they appointed me, I'll tell you right now. I've been on them and on them. We fight all the time. There's one engineer down at the county, great guy, Mark Laramie. Great guy, he listens, he gets it. Tony Pacenti is starting to get it. Dick Williams and I met with the chief of staff, and he kind of acquiesces now, doesn't he, Dick? Dick doesn't have any hope for that working out, but we try. This is who I am personally. You read the screen and I won't have to say it because I don't want to brag too much. I broke my arm once patting myself on the back, and I stopped doing it. Co-author of Utica Then and Now is a local history book. Co-author of legendary Greater Utica, another history book. And I'm a writer for the Greater Utica magazine whenever I feel like it. I'm supposed to write every month, but I don't write every month because I'm old. And some months I'm tired. And I tell them when I feel up to it, I'll